and 1 second. Well, maybe 2 or 3. Slooby-dooby-doo. Lots of you are here already. Okay, I'll just get myself set up. Come on, I don't want top chat. I want all chat, all live chat. Thank you. Okay, so Julie's here, and Sharon, and Adele, and Jeanette, and Phyllis, and Lydia. Yep, just my head. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Hiya, Tracy. Hello. Hello there. Don't be silly. You lot are silly. Okay, so I'm going to make a quick announcement before we start. So for those of you that are watching this on replay, I'm going to be having a few minutes saying hello to everybody. So you might want to just skip this little bit if you're watching the replay. Tracy Fox, our Tracy, not the other Tracy. Tracy Fox, the lady with the spanner next to her name. She is the main moderator on chat, although the other moderators from off the Facebook group are on here too, or one of them is. Excuse me. And that was loud motorbike. So they will, they'll jump in and say their 4 penneth anyway. Don't be harsh on yourself, our Tracy. Our Tracy. It's a very Yorkshire thing, is our. So it's like in my phone, my son's in as our Sam. And my daughter, Gemma, she's in as our Gemma. My brother, our Neil. Yeah, very Yorkshire thing. Hello there, everyone. Hello there, Trudine. Hello there, Teresa. Teresa. Could be Teresa, couldn't it? Hello there. I'm guessing that's short for Butterfly Spirit. Hello there, Maribel. Hola. Hey up, Scarlett's here again. Do you get notifications or something, Scarlett? That's my granddaughter, by the way. And I know I say this every time. That's my granddaughter, by the way. There may be others, but this one is ours. It's very true. Yay! Well done, Connie. So that's why you've subscribed. You're very naughty. Carol, will you send me some real fish and chips, please? Yorkshire fish and chips. Cooked in beef dripping. Same as you can't beat our Yorkshire puddings either. Also cooked in beef dripping. Ooh. Not had beef dripping and Yorkshire puddings for ages. Too fattening. Too fattening. Hello there, Wendy. Nothing that these prompts push me like February's. Okay, so first things first, apologies that I didn't get a chance to do a video yesterday. First time I catch you live. Oh, hello there, Stumpy Shine. Well done on getting here for the first time. My granddaughter came to stay for a few days and we got a little bit tied up yesterday. And so yeah, so she ended up leaving later than expected. So I wasn't able to get the video done. So I thought, oh, do you know what? I'm in Cleethorpes and now fish and chips cannot be beaten. Ah, well, I'm in York. So I'm in the capital of Yorkshire. So I thought, do you know what? Rather than filming the video, I might as well just do a live. It's easier. It's quicker. I can answer any questions. So I thought, yeah, it was just easier to do the live video. And then fingers crossed, because I've also got to go to the post office either tomorrow or on Saturday. There'll be another video tomorrow. If not, it'll be Saturday. But I'll see how things go. Because the weather has also changed here. And it's gone really cold after it being warm, which of course affects my breathing. Yay, joy, woo! So yeah, so my breathing's not been great today. So happy I caught you live, hoping for a few little tunes. No, because the voice isn't good at the moment, due to the breathing problem. So and I don't know what upset our Tracy either. She doesn't like me singing. Good to put a face to the name. It's me. Hello. I'm not special, just me. So, but it's curious, isn't it? Because when you do watch videos, you mainly see people's hands and you get to hear their voice. And so you conjure up a picture in your mind of what that person is like. And more often than not, when you get to see that person, when they actually come on screen like this, you're a bit like, oh, you're nothing like what I expected. So there was a lady who's going to remain nameless, but it did actually make me chuckle. She was making a payment to my PayPal account, and on my PayPal account, I've got dark hair, which was my natural colour. And as I've gone greyer, I was like, do you know what, sod it, I'm just going to grow it out. I cannot be bothered dyeing my hair once a month, every month, for the remainder of my life. I'm just going to grow it out, and I'm going to grow old gracefully. So that's what I've done. I've grown it out. Anyway, on this picture, my hair is dark brown, which, as I say, was my natural colour. And two of my grandkids were in the same picture. And this photograph was taken maybe 2 years ago. And she said, I'm wondering if I've gone to the right account. She said, because the lady in the photograph is a lot younger. I was a bit like, a lot younger than what this beautiful face is. And it's only because I've gone grey. So but it did make me chuckle. So this lady obviously thinks I look old. It's not. You lot have sent me grey. So yes, so apologies that there was no video yesterday. And no offence was taken, by the way, if the lady's watching. No offence taken. But it did make me chuckle. Yeah, I've given up on wearing makeup now as well. The other thing that I wanted to say was a really big thank you as well to the ladies who donated some pennies on the last live video. That was very much appreciated, thank you. But also to those who have started buying me cups of tea or buying me a brew, because I've got the thing now set up where you can, and it's in the description box beneath any of my videos, future videos. It's not under this one at the moment, with it being alive. I've not had a chance to add the information. So, but under the last couple, there's a little link to be able to buy me a cup of tea, or 2 or 3, or however many you want. So those funds are very much appreciated. Thank you very much, because it does helps to keep me going. So you know what I'm like. Girl can't survive without her brew. It's a bit hot. I'm going to spin you around because there's one more thank you that I need to make. So for those of you that get a little bit giddy, now is the time to avert your eyes. I will show you my lovely ceiling light again, and then I'll flip you around. Okay, off we go. And my creaky chair. You can get to listen to my creaky chair. There we go. Now at this point, because of the camera pointing down, it's too high up for me to read any of the messages. So I'll try and keep an eye on the computer. I don't always manage to do that when I'm busy doing stuff. I can't keep my eye on this and on that. So, you know, I might not be able to answer all your questions if I don't catch any of it. The other thank you that I wanted to make before we make a start was, again, she will remain nameless, but there was a lady who sent me these lovely rub-ons. The date on it was actually quite a long time ago. It happened to go to a neighbour of mine. Went to the wrong address because it was a new postman, and the lady kindly brought it up to me yesterday. So thank you very much to the special lady who sends me bits and pieces in the post. I got my rub-ons, so thank you very much. What's Stumpy saying? That's funny. I missed that. I'll just type louder. Well, you can type louder if you want in caps locks, but unless one averts one's eyes over to that direction, one won't see it. Type. Okay. Rock Your Journal. A couple of people are kind of missing the point of what Rock Your Journal is about, and what you're supposed to do with the prompts. In fact, let me put that there because that's prettier than looking at me wringing my hands. Hang on, slurp tea. Cool, blooming heck, it's still hot. Rock Your Journal. When I give you a prompt, it is entirely up to you how you interpret that prompt. Now again, these ladies are going to remain nameless because it doesn't matter. But I'm using them as examples to explain a point that I want to get across. One lady saw my Easter bonnet and said, "Oh, I'm picking choosing which prompts I do," which is absolutely fine. That it's your journal. You do with it as you wish. You don't have to do every prompt if you don't want to. But the reason why she said that was because she said, "I don't want to do something as complicated as that." Well, you don't have to. If all you want to do is cut out a picture of someone else's Easter bonnet, or if you've got a photograph of your own Easter bonnet, stick that in. That's all you need to do. See you later, Scarlett. Bye. How much time you spend on the prompts, how complicated or how easy you want to do them is entirely up to you. Okay. When I do mine, I'm using mine to give you an example of something that you could do. It might be something that you might not have seen before. So that's why I do share what I'm doing with mine, is to hopefully maybe inspire you a little bit further. The other comment was, and it's about one of the prompts that I'm going to do today, which is the news story. Said, you know, have a look and see if you can find a local news story that you could add to your page. If you want to make one up, that's up to you. It doesn't have to necessarily be anything that's in the news. It could be, in fact, Natalie gave the suggestion of, you know, if you want to use your something that's happened within your family, make that into the news story. That's exactly what you can do. So don't always see the prompts as you've got to follow them rigidly word for word. They are a prompt, and a prompt means it's just a guide, just something to nudge you with an idea. Okay, you've all gone very quiet on chat now. I'm presuming I'm still working because I can see myself wiggling my hands. So yeah, do with the prompt what you will. Throw it in the bin, do something with it, do something that's along the lines of, but at the end of the day, it's your journal. It's up to you what you do with it. I'm just doing with mine what I want, you know. You can do the same. Okay, I am going to make a little start-at. Let me just move these bits out of the way. I can sit them now on top of the computer. Now, the reason why I talked about those two things was I just wanted to use them as an example. I'm not trying to, you know, pick those ladies out and saying that they're wrong for saying something, because they're not. But I wanted to use them as an example of how I know a couple of others are sort of thinking and feeling about it as well. So I just wanted to clarify. Well done, Brenda, on your sunbonnet, Sue. Nikki was planting tomatoes and peppers. I'm just paying attention. I'm loving this. Rocky Journal 2. I wanted to make sure I was understanding properly. Okay. So as I say, whatever you want to do with the page is up to you. You know, we had the hoo-ha the other day with the bunting. That was quite funny. Okay, let's have a slurp of my tea. I've already cut my paper out. And I went online because I knew that there was a specific news story that I want to add to this journal because it's personal. So I went to one of the local newspaper websites and I printed the story off. And it's about John Lewis store in York will be closing and 209 staff are affected. Not happy news by any stretch of the imagination. But as I say, this was personal to me. I used to work at John Lewis until my health decided to have other plans. And so I had to take early retirement from there. And during COVID, the store has been closed down. And they're not reopening it. So a lot of my old friends who were still working up there may now lose their jobs. John Lewis are a good company in that they will try to find jobs in other sectors within the company if people choose to go down that route. Otherwise, some of them will lose their jobs. So I'm going to include this as my news story because, as I say, it was personal to me. It's only just happened that they've just notified everyone. 24th of March. Actually, so that's what I'm going to use. So let me make a start. So I want to utilise the title of the newspaper. So I'm just going to trim that out, and then I'm going to add it onto some backing paper to just highlight it. And I'm not doing anything fancy with this at all. I want to keep it nice and simple and quick. So that will go on my page. And then I want the main title of the story. So I'll trim that bit out. In fact, I could have been doing this whilst I was telling you all about John Lewis, couldn't I? and as to why the story is relevant and why I want to use it. I could have been chopping all of this lot off. Oh well. Just means I'll have to think of something else to talk about. So I want that bit, and I want the picture. Now I'll show you the picture a bit closer up in a moment. Once I've chopped it out. See, the news everywhere is depressing at the moment. But sometimes there are little nuggets, especially in local newspapers, you know, local stories instead of national stories. There are normally some little nuggets of either fun or light-heartedness about them. But as I say, if the actual real news is upsetting you, bothering you, you don't want to use it, make up your own. Okay, so this is the picture. So that was a picture from inside the store from when we first opened, and these were the two escalators, the down one and the the down one and the up one. And it was 150 years since John Lewis had started, which is quite an interesting historical story if you want to look it up. And these were some of the fashion images throughout John Lewis's history. So that was the inside of the store. This was the linens department down here, and I worked in the linens department, and then behind here was the crockery, the china department, and I worked in that section as well. So that's why I've chosen that picture, because it was quite relevant for me. And then this was the actual story about them closing down. So I want to include that bit as well. So those are the 4 bits that I want to use. And as I say, I think I might mount these onto some of the other papers to just make them stand out a little bit more. And then I might just stick that across there. And I might add that bit down there. And chop a little bit more off that. Okay, and then, as I said in one of the previous videos, I've kept all the odd scraps of papers from the other pages that I've created, so it means that I can utilise these, and then it helps to tie in and keep everything all together and matching and complementary. Okay, then I'm going to add some glue on the back of there. I also got asked as well about, one of the comments on the videos was about the glue, and saying that she didn't know the difference between all the glues. And just in case any of you don't know, if you type my name into YouTube search and then type glue as well, there is a video that I've done about the different glues that I use and the reasons as to why. So so if you're not sure, you may find that quite interesting about glues. Oh, that was rather whoos. I don't know what was going on there. Okay, so if I put that up there, might centralise it. Don't want to frame it. Yeah, we're going to frame it. We're going to mat it. I'm going to use the same blue again, I think, and especially as it's blue in the picture. Okay. And then plonk some glue on that. So as I say, I'm not doing anything fancy to this at all. I'm just keeping it all fairly plain. I'm not adding any clusters or stickers or no fancy. I just want to keep it purely as the news story. I'll tell you what would be good to have on. Maybe some, what did they used to call it? Was it ticker tape? Maybe have some ticker tape going around. So I'm going to stick that there, that there. Yeah, going deet, 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 deet. That was the noise, wasn't it? Deet, 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 deet. That's a good idea, Jeanette, yeah. Going with April's news in bygone times. Yeah, do the comparison as to like what's happening at this time of year last year. As more and more news about COVID and that was coming out. Okay, that's going to sit like that. And as I say, it doesn't always have to be highly decorated and highly patterned. It can just be something really simple. The other thing that I could do, I suppose, is add the names around the outside of all the guys that I used to work with. That might be quite a nice little reminder piece as well. Okay, how do I want that on? About there. Now then, when I come to putting this piece on, as you can see, it's quite close to the edge, and I'm going to be using some rings to make it into a ring binder. I'm going to come on to the ring binder bit a little bit later within this video. But as you can see, that's quite close, so it might actually encroach on where the rings are going to go. But as I say, I'm going to come back to that in a moment. You could write about anything that was in the news. Oh, there you go. Sean has beat me to it. The news where you were born or graduated or married. Just has to be a news story. Do I want it straight or do I want it skewy? I'll have it straight. Okay, so mine is going to be as simple as that. Right, go and add. Let's have a look. Might add some faux stitching lines around it. I do like drawing these on. Don't know what it is about it, but one does like drawing these lines. Now, next time you see this, I might have done some more to it, because sometimes, again, you can do a piece, keep it as simple as I've done it here, and then revisit it, because you might come across something as you're creating another page and you think, oh, actually, that would look really good on such and such page. You know, so don't feel that you've got to complete every single page. You can leave it in a semi-state and, you know, and then go back to it at a later time. Do a bit more. As I say, it's your journal. It's an interpretation of you, who you are, your story, your style. I think I'm going to keep it as simple as that, I think. So a bit of a close-up. There you go. So that's my page for the news. So that's one done. Just see if there's anything on the chat. I'm going to make a story up, I think, and I shall be a computer IT wizard. Yeah, I've got to see that as well, Tracy. I reckon that'll be, yeah, true fantasy land. Okay, let me just spin the camera just a touch, because for some reason I'm all skewy for not square on. A bit better. Okay, next page, and I've just cleaned my decks up, was to do with tea bag folding. And in fact, I want these scraps out. So these were some scraps from one of the first pages I did. That could go on the floor. There we go. Now then, tea bag folding. This is something that I did a long time ago. Long ago. Way back in the day, when Carol's hair was not grey. Now, the way I heard the story told at that time, whether it's true or not, I don't know. There was a lady, she was in a hotel, she was bored, she had loads of cups of tea. Bless her little cottons, girl after my own heart. And of course, tea, when you go and stay in a hotel, tends to come in these little packets. And she had that many cups of tea that she had all these little squares of the packets that the tea bag was in, and she started folding it up, and she came up with tea bag folding. Now, as I say, that's the story as I heard tell. Whether it be true or not, one is not sure. But because the patterns were all the same, she managed to create other patterns, which I'm going to come to in a minute. Now, I'm not going to create a page for this. I'm going to create some tags, and I'm going to put some tags in here. So I'm going to use this paper to cut it up into tags, which again, I'll come to in a minute. I'm just going through my explanations at the moment. So those are going to be made into tags. Now, do you like all the sound effects? Now, as I say, I did tea bag folding a long time ago, and I'd forgotten that I'd got this file. I don't know if you can see that. Tea bag papers. So, at the time, I was quite fascinated by the idea of the tea bag folding, and I went through every website that I could find with tea bag folding in it. And so I printed off loads of freebie papers and put them in here. Now, I'm not going to show you them because I don't think it's fair, because I actually went and tried yesterday to try and find websites that have freebie tea bag papers on, and I struggled. I looked on Pinterest, I did a Google search, and unfortunately I struggled to find a website to share with you that does freebie tea bag papers. So I think it's unfair to show you all the ones that I printed off, so I'm not going to bother. But there are companies online. Now, I got these from a local craft store, again, a long time ago, that sell printed tea bag papers. So these are some of the ones that I own. When you look at the actual images, they're pants. They're really, okay. Yeah, it's no good. I can't do WD-40 on my chair, though. Tried it, didn't work. So when you have a look at the pattern up real close, you're a bit like, oh my God, that's hideous. But actually, once it's folded up, it's the pattern from within the pattern that it creates which is what always fascinated me. And again, on these papers, it's giving you the instructions of how to go about making the fold to be able to create this pattern. All right, so same on this one, pants image, but once it's folded up, it creates something really quite lovely. Same with this one, pants and pants, but then you can create these patterns. Now, basically, all you need is an overall pattern, and this is a good example of this. So if you've got an overall pattern like this, you can use your dies, your square dies or a square punch, and punch out the squares. Now, the average size of those squares are around about 2 inches. You can do them smaller, you can do them bigger. It's up to you. But what you need to do, what you need to make sure is that you punch out the same pattern. All right. So as you can see here, there's a pattern within this. And in fact, I'll show you another paper in a moment, which is easier to tell. But you would need to punch out the same part of the pattern right the way throughout the paper, because that's what gives it the best effect. Okay. Now, if you print it out, if you manage to find some papers that you like and you print it out, if you print it onto your thinnest, cheapest copy paper is better, because the thinner the paper, the better you will get a good fold and a nice crisp fold. If you go for much thicker paper, then you will find that it'll be bulky and it will be more difficult to fold. Now, this is one of those papers where it's easier for me to show you about cutting out the pattern. You don't always have to measure that they're 2 inches square, all right? So what you could do is I could cut vertically through the same part on every part of this pattern, and then cut it horizontally in the same part, so that I end up with one of these flowers within the centre. Or I can turn it on the diagonal, which you'll see it better now, and I could cut along this line here and this line here, and then that way, and then I end up with one of the flowers in the centre of the paper, right? So long as it's a square, that's all that it matters. So long as the pattern is the same on each of those squares, that's what matters. Now, that is not a hard and fast rule, okay? If you want to use a variety of different papers and add them together, it can create a nice effect as well. But if you go with the same patterned paper right the way throughout, it creates some really interesting designs. One of the other things that I did with mine was I actually printed the same design out, and I printed it out onto rice paper. Now, I had to attach the rice paper to a piece of paper for it to go through my printer. I couldn't just put the rice paper through as it was, it just crinkled it up. You could also use a really good quality tracing paper, you know, just something that is thinner than normal copy paper, because now I've got something that is going to be easier for me to fold. Okay. There was something else I was going to tell you. Sorry, slow per tea. If you cut really tiny squares, you are going to find it really fiddly to fold and get all nice and neat, unless you've got really thin fingers and you're really nimble and young. So in actual fact, I like sort of 2.5 inch size squares, because they're a nice big size and easy to handle. And there are lots of different fold patterns. Now, these folds are very similar to origami. It's the same kind of principle. And if you've never done it before, start off with one of the easier folds, see how you get on with it, and then if you really enjoy doing it, you can go on to some more complicated folds. Now I have got some here to share with you. So these are some of the patterns that I did. So this is a pinwheel fold. And as I say, I've always said, I don't like doing complicated things. If some of these were started to get quite complicated and I couldn't do them, so I gave up. It's like, nah, give me the easy stuff to do. That's a star fold. And this is a flower fold. All right. So I'm actually going to use these three in my journal. So I'm going to come back to those in a moment. Now, one of the other designs, again, that I did a long time ago was this one called the Dahlia Fold. And you'll actually see quite a few cards done with the Dahlia Fold. And the reason why I had to go at doing this one was because these are actually circles rather than squares. So don't feel that you've always got to stick to the squares. But the Dahlia Fold, you might recognise from that image there. You might have seen this on other cards. But it's all made from circles. Okay? And there's lots of YouTube videos of people demonstrating how to do the folds. Now, the one that I'm going to show you is called a simple kite fold. So I've already pre-cut out my squares, and these were the thingy paper, rice paper, that was the word, couldn't think of the word. Now most of these designs tend to use round about 9 squares. Some are less, some are more. So you'll need to just experiment, have a go, and just see what you can come up with. All right. So it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So all we're going to do is we're going to fold it from corner to corner. So I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm just going to fold this up to that point. So I'm folding it in half, basically. Let me just check my sample, because I've forgotten. Aye, that were it. Okay. Because you know it doesn't take much for me to forget these days. Alright, so I did corner to corner, and then I'm opening it. And then I'm going to spin it round, and I'm going to do the opposite corner to corner. So on the back, I have now got two fold lines here and here. Okay, and then I'm going to fold each of the 4 corners into that centre point. Now at this moment in time, I'm not going to do a hard fold. I'm just going to do a soft one because I want to make sure that I've got it all correct. And then at least if it doesn't quite all match up and fit, because I've only made a soft fold, it means that I can easily alter it. And this is where having die cut squares comes in handy, rather than my freehand cut squares, because then you know that they should be exactly square. Okay, I'm happy with that, and it all meets in the middle. Okay, so each of those 4 corners are folded into the middle for diddle. Okay, I have to remember what I did. Then, did I have it that way around? Hang on, let me just check. Okay, so you have to have it on the diamond, and then I'm going to fold this straight edge up here to line up with this straight edge here. So I'm folding it up to the centre. So that will be, oh, that's not very good, Carol. Come on, woman, shape yourself. There we go. So that's folded up to the centre, and then I'm going to do the same with this side. I'm going to fold it up to the centre. And that's it. It's that easy. Okay, so you end up with what's called a kite fold. Now, if I bring it up close for you to see, put my hand there. So you can see the pattern that has been formed from the original design. That being the original design, okay? If I flip it over, it creates a totally different pattern on the back side of that, okay? So you can use either side of this particular design, but then you would go and glue that to a piece of paper, make another one, and then glue that to the piece of paper, and it starts to form a pattern going around it, right? So I'll do another one. Now I'm just going to move the camera in a lot closer so that it might be easier to see. See if I can remember how I did it. Okay, so I'm going to fold corner to corner to mark the centre point, and corner to corner again. Okay, and then I'm going to fold each of those four corners into the centre, but I'm just going to do a soft fold so that I can make sure that it all fits nicely together. Because I can always come back and do a hard fold afterwards once I've made sure that it all fits. You say that don't fit right. Okay, so let's just bring that down a tad. There we go. And that one. And then the next one. So I've gone quiet because I'm concentrating. Okay. Right, so I can see there, look, I haven't got it, I haven't cut it quite right. So I'm going to fudge it for now. Okay. So once I've done that, I then, oh, I've forgotten again, hang on. Yeah, that's it. So I've got it on the diamond, and then I'm going to fold this edge up to the centre. See, I tell you, it doesn't take much for me to forget these days. And get a nice sharp point at the bottom. And then back to the diamond, and then I'm going to fold this edge up to the centre. Alright, now then, I could put a little dab of glue underneath each of those folds to get them to stick down, so that it holds the paper in place. Or I could leave them so that they're loose, and it now starts to create something that's a little bit more 3D, alright? So, I can either have it that way round, or I can flip it over and have it that way round. So we'll just stick these side by side again, so you can begin to see the type of pattern that it now creates. And I just think it starts to create some really fascinating designs. Okay, and then if I flip it over, so that the pattern is now that way round, and then add them together. Again, you can begin to see what a beautiful image that creates with the colours and the pattern. And so that's the sort of thing. But I like to do the simple stuff. I don't like doing any of the complicated stuff. Why give myself a headache? You know? I'm here to enjoy my little self, not to create myself a headache. So I would need maybe 8 in total of those to do a complete round. But that on a card, you know, would look lovely. I could maybe do another one, and then I've got like a fan shape, so then I could utilise it as a fan. So that's the sort of thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to use these that I've already done. So I'm going to use those I've already done. This one I might complete off camera, and I might add maybe on the back of one of the other pages. We'll see. Now I'm just going to pull you back out again a bit, because like I said, I'm going to make these into some tags and add these onto here to form the tag shape. So I need 3. So I think that if I cut that in half, let me just check for height. Right, so that's the halfway point. Yeah, I can make tags. Yay! Alright, let me just push these out the way for a moment. So that particular design that I just showed you there was called a Kite. K-I-T-E fold. So I'm just going to cut this in half. And I'm going to do the same with this one. And then use my piece of plastic, get one of them, and then I will stick that onto there. So I need to trim some off this side here. So I'm just going to use my scissors for this bit. Now I need to remember to leave myself some space at the bottom for where I'm going to be punching my holes. So I'm going to leave a fairly generous space. Okay. So I want them all about like that. Straighten that up. So I want them all that way around. It's 2. And I want one more. Okay, so that gives me 3 of those. And then I'm just going to use my credit card bit. Well, it's not a credit card, it's my old casino card. And then do I want that shape or that? I think I might go the long angle. And again, I'm not going to do all 3 now. I'm just going to give you an idea of what I'm going to be doing. So I will do the same with those 2 pieces later on. I would ink up around the edges, and then these I've already created, I might as well use them as they are. And then I'll put some glue on the back of there. And add that to that. And then I might even then punch a little hole at the top. And I can even add a little pocket on the back of these tags, and I could include one of these folded pieces in there so that I can unfold it to see how it goes together. So then I could put that sample in the pocket, so that if I wanted to make another one of these, then I'd just pull the sample out, unravel it and go, ah, yeah, right, okay, that's how it goes. And then I could make another one. All right, so that's going to be my tag that's going to go in my journal, and I'm going to do 3. So there's going to be that on there and that on there. So I will be adding those 3 to my journal. All right. Now, bear with me a sec while I just clear my decks just a little, so that I can talk to you about the next bit. So, chuck that rubbish on the floor. You can go there. With that and with that. And again, I might do some more decoration on those later on, and do a little bit more on there. All right. Now then, this is the point where I might lose some of you. Sorry, slip of tea, because I'm going to talk to you about mathematics. Dear, oh dear, good old mathematics. I want my ruler. Where's my ruler gone? Oh, blooming heck, I had it earlier. Okay, just take a breath a minute, Carol. Where's your blooming ruler gone? It's there. Where I left it. It's always the case, isn't it? So I'm just going to take this for a moment, because this is my front cover, and I have got a scrap piece of black card. So I'm just going to trim this down to be the same length as my book, which is about there. And the reason why I'm doing it now is that I've done a couple of pages, so I've kind of got a feel of what I'm going to be doing. I also knew that I wanted to add some tags, and that was going to play a key part as to where I put the holes, and how many of them. So this will become my template, but I need to first demonstrate how I worked it out on here. Now, if you're not mathematical, don't worry, you can just use your eye, and you can tune out at this point if you want. So I measured the length of my front cover, and I've got an unusual measurement. So I divided that number by 2. Pencil. I divided that number by 2 to find the centre point. Okay, so I have my strip of paper, which is the exact same length as my cover. Now I could fold it in half and find the centre point, or I could use my ruler, because I've worked it out mathematically where the centre point should be. Okay, now my centre point on here is 4 7/8 of an inch, which is there. Alright, so that's my centre point there. Again, I'm just going to bring you in a little bit closer so that you can see better what it is that I'm doing. Okay, so once I've found my centre point, I then need to work out how far in I want those holes. Right, do I want them here? Do I want them here? Way too far. Do I want them here? Too close to the edge. So I worked out that roughly 1/2 inch in is where I'm going to need my holes. So if I measure 1/2 inch there and 1/2 inch up here, and then join those two lines together, and then that will become my line for punching my holes onto. Okay, so I've got my 1/2 inch in and I've got my halfway point. Now you could decide to do 4 holes to have 4 rings, or 5 holes to have 5 rings. Now I'm going to have 5 rings in mine because I want to make sure that the tags especially, or any unusual sized pages, are going to be held in place. So because I'm having 5 rings, I know that I want one in the centre, which is already marked there, and then there will be 2 more down in this section and 2 in this section. So that's sort of, you know, fairly easy to sort of work out. If you want 4 holes, it takes a little bit more thinking about. So let's say I want them 2 inches apart. Hang on, I'm going to have to do my ruler upside down so it's too long. So I'm going to place the 4 inches. See if I can do it to show you. So I'm going to place 4 inches here on, stop knocking the card, 4 inches here on that centre mark. Okay, could be 5 inches, you know, the measurement doesn't matter. Now I want 1 inch that way and 1 inch that way, which means that they're equidistant from that centre point. But that's only 2 inches between those 2 points. So I might have to go to 3 inches and 3 inches. So now I've gone 1, 2 that way from the centre and 1, 2 that way from the centre. So then I would have a hole here and 1, 2 and then a hole here. So that makes it a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. So then the next measurement would be 4 inches down, and then they become equidistant. You could just go by eye and say, you know, I want 1 here and I want 1 here. It's up to you. You can measure it, but if you're going to measure it out, measure it from the centre point out. Right, so that then you know that they're all the same distance apart. For me, as I say, I'm having 5 holes in mine, so I know that I am going to do, so I've got this one here at the centre, and then I'm going to go 1, 2 inches from the centre, and I'm going to have a hole there, and then I'm going to go 1, 2 inches from there, and I'm going to have another hole there. So there's a 2 inch gap between each of my holes. So let's do it the other way. So from that centre point I'm going to go 1, 2, and that's where that one's going to be, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, and that's where that one's going to be. And now they're all the same distance apart. Now I know that not everyone will follow that, because not everyone's a mathematical genius, and I certainly aren't. It took me a while to work it out, the distance between each one. So I will then get, there's my little punchy hole thing. Now I'm just going to use this simple thing to just punch a hole, because I've got the camera close to the table, and I'm going to punch a hole there. And then I'm going to punch another hole there. And this then will become my template. Okay, so this will become the edge of the page, and that is where the holes are then going to be. Let me just choose this page here to show you. So I would line the edge of this card up here with the edge of the page here, and because my pages are cut to the same size, I could then make sure that I've got the same gap at the top and the same gap at the bottom, because my pages are slightly smaller than the cover. And when I come to mark these, I'm just going to mark these in pencil so you can see. Can you see how it's now encroaching on that piece of work that I've done? And I wouldn't be very happy about that. But what I can do is, because this page is narrower than my cover, let's get my cover. I'll line it up with the edge of the cover. You can see I've got quite a fair distance here. So I could actually add a piece of paper on the edge of my page here and wrap it round to the back, so that I'm adding an extra piece on the page, which then makes the page wider, which then means that my holes are going to be in a different place. Confused yet? Good. Let me just... Sorry, I dropped these on the floor. So let me use this paper. So I would glue that onto the front there, and then I would curl it round to the back. So I need to work out what measurement I need it to be. Where's my cover gone? There it is. So that's the maximum that it can take up, is to there. And I want that paper, let me slide it across a bit, to sit on the edge of the page there, so I can see that I can do up to there to take it up to the edge of the cover. I don't know whether you can all see that. So it means that at that point there I can fold it in half. So let me just fold that. Just gone and ripped the paper. Typical. Now I can't give you any measurements because it will all depend on what size pages you're all doing and such like. But I'm just going to do this as an example to show you, and I'm going to pull the camera back out so that you can see more easily what it is that I'm doing. So let me just pull that out a bit. There we go. So this will now sit inside of that folded piece and will be adhered to the edge of my page there, which has now extended my page a little bit. And it now means that with my template, this edge is going to sit up against this edge of paper now, which means that when I go to mark my holes on there, they're now not on my work, they're actually away from my work, because the holes are now on this strip of paper. Okay, what was this? I thought Carol liked us. What are you on about? Eh, what? Oh God, have they been talking about being in the naughty corner again? Anyway, I've missed out what's going on chat. So adding that extra folded strip on the edge means that I've extended my page size, but I know that it still fits within my cover. All right. And I know now that those holes are not going to encroach on my work. Now it means that now any future pages I can already set out the boundary lines of where those holes are going to be, so that if I come to decorate the page, it's not going to, the decoration part is not going to be anywhere near those holes. Now, as I say, I've left it till now because I wanted to make sure about the types of pages that I was creating, and also about the tags that I was going to be doing, of which I've put somewhere safe. Wherefore art thou? There's thou art. So these tags are going to sit this way on, and it means because I've used 5 holes, it means that I'm going to have 2 holes in each one, which means that that is going to be well supported. And then the second one, if it'll come on, come to mummy. So the first one will take up hole 1 and 2. The second one will take up hole 2 and 3. The third one will take up hole 3 and 4. And then if I want to do a fourth one, that will take up hole 4 and 5. So it means then that they will flip independently of each other, and I know that they're going to be well supported because they'll have 2 holes punched in them, so therefore the rings will be going through the 2 holes. Now this might be a section that you might need to watch again, because sometimes with all the chat that's going on as well, it's a bit difficult to concentrate. So now I've got my template, I can utilise it on every page that I now create from here on in. I kind of left borders already in place. I knew that they might not be quite right, but I knew that I'd left my pages narrow enough that if I needed to add an extra slip of paper around it to just extend the page a little, then I could do. When it comes to the likes of this one, which was the looking through the window, because it's a card and it opens up like this, I'm just going to add a strip of paper just purely on the back. So I'll use a much firmer piece of paper and add the strip on the back of this, so then I can still open this up so that it's not encroaching on opening it up, because the last thing I want to do is to punch holes through this that the rings go through, and then it will open, but it's difficult to open. It will only open so far. All right, so adding a strip on the back will just make it easier that I can then pull that over the top of the rings as a whole, and then this front part is not encroaching with the rings and means that I can open it up a lot easier. There's another page that I wanted to show you that I've done a little bit more to as well, which was this one, which was my bunting. Not that I'm trying to, bunting. So I found an English telephone box. I put a little Tim Holtz boy on there, looking as though, he's hoping that it's going to be like Harry Potter, where he goes into the telephone box and they go down, like a lift. Okay, and then that will then open up like so. Open up and open up. Now this is another one that, because it opens up, I'm going to add a strip of paper on the back that I will then punch my holes into, and then it won't encroach on the fact that it's opening up. Let me just have a quick catch up with chat. Jerry, just draw a line from you to... That's the name of my long lost relatives. Love your bonnet, Carol. Thank you very much, Julie. Ladies, maybe a PM might be better in respect to Carol. Ooh, what's that all about, Maureen? I missed chat. Jerry's just put Connie, we are neighbours. Oh, does this mean that ladies have found each other? They didn't realise that they knew each other. So my pages to date are my bunting. What was the next one? My timeline. My Easter bonnet. And my through the window. And then that's... Where's my other page gone? There we go. So that one's going to be my news story. And again, because this is close to the edge, I'm probably going to add another strip on the side of there. So that will be my news story. And then my tea bag folds are going to be tags, which I'll also add as well. Now, to the next two prompts. Let me have a swig of tea because my voice is going a bit. I want my pen. No, cold tea's not cutting the mustard. I'm just going to stand up because my back's hurting from bending over. Oh. Poor old soul. Okay. Let's get on to the next two prompts, which is the 7th and the 8th. Now, the reason why I do it this way around is to give you the following set of prompts at the end of the video. Is for you to go away and have a little think about and use your own imagination. Because that's what this is all about. This is all about you, encouraging you to step outside your box and use your own imagination with what you can create. If I go straight into doing the prompts and then showing you what I'm going to make with mine, you become fixed within that space of like, that's all that you can create is something similar to what I've done. Whereas with me not showing you, you then actually utilise your own creativity, get your own creative juices going and start to think through for yourself about what you could actually do with that prompt with no help from me whatsoever. So that's why I do it this way around. So you don't get to see what my idea was until the next video. That is to help to encourage you to go away and go and have a think about it for yourself. All right. So 7th of April. This prompt is going to be fashion. Fashion of your, I'm going to do the shortened version here, fave era. So fashion of your favourite era. So that's the prompt for the 7th of April. I know it's a day late. The prompt for the 8th of April, which is today. Oh dear. Things to do when you have, it's a long one this one, when you have a bad day. In fact, I'm going to put an exclamation mark on that. In fact, 2. There we go. Things to do when you have a bad day. Because I know that, especially during COVID, during the lockdown, we've all had lots of bad days. So what is it that you do to get yourself out of those bad mood days? It could be music, it could be going for a walk, it could be going into your craft room, it could be telling everyone to sod off, go away, leave you alone. Could be phoning up your mates. You know, all sorts of different ideas of the things that you do when you're having a bad day to cheer you up. Because next time you're having a bad day, you could go back and have a look at that page and you can go, oh yeah, I could go off and go and do that. That would cheer me up no end. Go shopping. Online shopping, that cheers a girl up every day of the week. Okay? So, those are your 2 prompts for yesterday and today. And then, as I say, hopefully if everything goes to plan tomorrow and my voice is still intact, I'll try and do a video tomorrow with the next 2 prompts, which will be for the 9th and the 10th of April. Okay? Bring them up close again. Move my fingers, fat fingers out way. 7th of April, fashion of your favourite era and things to do when you have a bad day. Now, I'm sorry I've not been able to keep up with chat. If I know the girls, they will have kept you all entertained, fully entertained. I think I saw maybe some donations, so if you did donate any money, thank you very much for donating to the cause. Soft off is my favourite. Oh dear. I can only keep talking for so long, Adele. Plus the fact it's nearly my bedtime. I know that the this bit, I know that bit might cause a few of you a few headaches, but just take it one step at a time. If you're thinking about doing the rings on your page edge, you know, just watch the video again when it goes on to replay and just follow it step by step. Find your centre, decide whether you're going to have 4 or 5 rings, and then work it out from there how much distance you need between each of the rings. Okay, and then know that this edge is the same as the edge of your pages. It's not a case of feeling better, it's just a case of I have to live with it. So it's one of those, just got to live with it, get on with it. And talking lots does affect my voice, because that's, you know, it's all connected with the condition that I've got. But thank you very much anyway. Okay, ladies, I'm going to call it a night because I'm going to make myself a hot cup of tea. Love you too, Do. Thank you. I'm going to make myself a hot cup of tea. I'm going to put my feet up and watch my last 3 episodes of Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Can't even speak now, look. Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There we go. That's what I've been watching, and I'm on the series 7, and I've got the last 3 episodes to watch, and that's it then, no more. So I'm going to go and put my feet up and go and watch those, and then cry because I've got no more to watch after that. I hope you have fun. Remember, at the end of the day, ladies, this is only paper. If it all goes a bit Pete Wong, Pete Tong, that's it. Tell you I can't speak. If it all goes a bit Pete Tong, scrap it, it's only a bit of paper, start again. You know? Wendy, if you want to donate and you haven't been able to, thank you very much for the thought. You could always buy me a cup of tea. The link for that is in the previous videos, in the description box. And you can go and purchase me a cup of tea or two. But yeah, thank you very much for the thought anyway. Okay, good night everyone. Thank you for joining me. And I'll see you all again really soon. Hopefully tomorrow. Bye. Bye. Night. Love you. Bye.